Shalom, Yashala, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh. I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Yasharallah. Kol Holoyim La, Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Harakankwadash for blessing our elders with the spirit of truth so that we may know. Shout out to the Akim and the Akwath that's keeping the faith in the works. Y'all keep at it. This your brother Abaya coming at you with more precepts. Let me see. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, and verse 26. It says, I said, I will scatter them into corners. I will make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. That them is speaking about Yasharallah and the means that Yahweh used to wipe the remembrance of us to cease from among men was, of course, the transatlantic slave trade, and at the end of a whip. It was literally against the law for us to speak our native language. It was against the law for us to know how to read or write. It was against the law for us to be called by our native names. We had to take on the names of our oppressors, which was all made up, right? And it was all for a reason. But it was Yahweh that did this, and He did it because we fell off, right? This is the book of Baruch, chapter 4, and verse 6. It says, You were sold to the nations not for your destruction, but because ye moved power to wrath. You were delivered unto the enemies, for ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils, and not to power. Ye have forgotten the everlasting power that brought you up, and ye have grieved Jerusalem that nursed you. All right, so that's the reason why Yahweh did what He did. But it's written in the scriptures that a remnant of the Most High's people would wake up to the knowledge of self. But in turn, that means that the majority of the Most High's people would not. And they would be in that state all the way up until judgment. All right. We'll go to the book of 2 Peter. Chapter 2 and verse 9 says, Yahweh knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptations. Right? The remnant are considered the godly, the remnant of Yasharallah. It says, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished. That's the 2/3. That's the majority of the Most High's people. Right? They refuse to wake up. Right? They refuse to hear Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, but rather hear the world. Right? And it's always been so. That's what makes this servitude different than the rest. This time, Yahweh ain't saving all the Yasharallah out of this captivity. It's only going to be the remnant of the Most High's people that's going to make it out of this. Right? And the Most High going to make sure of that. He's going to keep you in darkness. Right? But, as I said, the darkness came at the end of a whip, but it continued through a falsified educational system. Right? Let me go to 1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse 20. It says, O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoid profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science falsely so called. Right? The word science, it basically means to know. It simply means to know, right? Or knowledge of, right? Knowledge of whatever it is just knowledge, right? And the label of black as a nationality, Hispanic, Latino, Native American, and wherever else we call it around the world is false, right? So we are surrounded by science falsely so-called, but the Most High has blessed the remnant of His people to be able to see beyond that and see the truth of it all. But we're going to go into this pseudo educational system and dig into the origins of it via this documentary. As you can see, the name of it is called The Evil History of Our Education system documentary on Jake Tran's um channel. Right, so I'm gonna let this video play. I'll be back.
So you're John D. Rockefeller in the late 1800s, and you have a big problem. It's the Industrial Revolution, and you have this giant oil empire, but you simply can't find enough wage slaves to keep the wheels turning. Unlike today, where you can just make a job post online, and a bunch of educated laborers will come flocking your way, back then most of America was rural. Most of America lived simple lives on farms. They were homeschooled, they went to schools ran by churches. They didn't know how to work a factory job, or at an oil refinery. They weren't conditioned to clock in and out. So you needed a way to educate the population on a massive scale so they could come work for you. However, we don't want to educate them too much now, do we? Remember, knowledge is dangerous. There's a reason why slaves weren't allowed to learn how to read or write. So if you're gonna educate the masses, you have to tread very carefully. Teach them too much and they'll become too ambitious, too independent. They'll think for themselves. They'll become your competitors. Instead, you want to teach them just enough so they can keep your empire running with a happy, obedient smile on their face. So what did you do? You helped pioneer the American public school system. All of a sudden, every parent could just send their kids off to a free public school funded by good old Rockefeller. To the rest of the world, you looked like a saint. You were giving free education to all those uncivilized, ignorant Americans. But you and I know the truth. By dangling the prospect of free education in front of millions of American parents, you were able to trick them into relinquishing their children to the state. That way, for 8 to 12 years of a child's most formative years, you get to condition them to be exactly who you want them to be. You get to decide what they learn and don't learn. You get to decide how they see the world. You get to condition them to be scared, to be fearful, to be obedient, to not chase after their dreams, to accept mediocrity. You get to teach them that if they don't follow orders exactly to the T, they are a failure.
I can't believe it.
B is for bitch! Because these are the traits that make for a good laborer. And it worked. By giving every American access to free, standardized public education, you were able to solve the labor problem in America. Now, every generation that came after it would go into school filled with innocence, creativity, and joy, and they would come out of school as an obedient worker that doesn't want to rock the boat. Workers who are perfectly happy making their employers rich.
Education system is predicated on the idea of academic ability, and there's a reason. The whole system was invented around the world. There were no public systems of education really before the 19th century. They all came into being to meet the needs of industrialism.
Ah yes, our entire education system today was created because John D. Rockefeller needed more workers. But it wasn't just Rockefeller. No, loads of other rich American tycoons poured billions of dollars into creating the modern-day education system we have today. These are the same wealthy dynasties behind big oil, big food, big pharma, and they all wanted to provide you with free conditioning, education, while they send their kids to private schools. As Rockefeller once said, I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers.
And we see the evidence of it even to this day. School teach you how to be a worker. It teach you how to be a servant. It doesn't promote, working for yourself. It doesn't promote you being a boss. It promotes you learning somebody else's history and basically creating a falsified sense of patriotism, depending on the mindset of the person, right? And all of this is by design, as we're seeing, started by the wicked of the wicked, right? If you don't know who the Rockefellers are or the Rothschilds, yeah, those are the individuals that make the decisions for the earth, that run the show. They control funds, like all of them, right? So you best believe when they say something needs to happen, it happens, and it's never for the people's sake. It's always for their sake, right?
These are the dark origins of our education system and why you want to stay dangerous.
It's the book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power. I will also forget thy children, right? But The remnant of the Most High's people have been blessed with that knowledge. So this ain't talking to the remnant of the Most High's people. This ain't speaking to the elect of the elect. They're speaking to the 2/3 that have the 2/3 mindset, that love being the realest niggas, that love being the bad bitches or boss bitch or whatever retarded ass label that the Most High people place on themselves outside of who they righteously are. Right? Not understanding that it's all by design. Even you calling yourselves the realest nigga and all the other nonsense, that come from another form of pseudo education called rap culture or gang culture or hood culture. Right? And who created hood culture and rap culture? The same individuals that created the fake ass educational system. Right? The same people, man. Right? Because if one thing works like a charm, unquestioned, what make you think they wouldn't tap into other forms of the same thing? Right? Did they make more than one soda? Do you have Coke, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, Faygo, Fanta? Right? The formula works, switch it up and move on to some other stuff. Right? Same thing with TV shows and movies. It's the same thing. Right? Mind control, teaching the people how to think. And the majority of the Most High's people are just rolling with it. That's why scripture said my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Because ultimately it's going to lead to your destruction, like we read in 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 9.
Origins of the American education system can be traced back to something called the Prussian Empire. The Prussian Empire is the empire that made up modern-day Germany, and these Prussians were geniuses at controlling the masses. See, in the late 1700s, Prussia invaded Poland, and they won. Prussia now occupied Poland, but the Prussians now face a new problem. Sure, they controlled Poland, but how were they going to get the Polish people to accept their new German rulers? They were the colonizers, the enemy, and yet somehow they needed to get the entire population to throw away their Polish identity and to accept imperial German nationalism. But the Prussians...
They had to get an entire group of people to throw away their nationality. Just like today. The Most High put the spirit of truth back on the earth, put that spirit into his men to go out into the highways and hedges and bid who he will to the marriage, make video epistles. People don't believe it. And the reason why they don't believe it is because they ain't been taught that in school. They ain't been taught that in the churches, which is a whole nother form of the same thing. Right? We talking about the same devil pulling the same tricks to get the same results, but slightly different. Right? Got a whole group of people to give up their own nationality and refuse to believe who they are. This is the only time we went through that, man, in the transatlantic slave trade.
weren't stupid. They knew they had no chance in changing the minds of the adults. The adults were proud Polish people. They were set in their ways. There's no hope in converting them. But the children? The Polish children were much more moldable. And if they could attack the children, they could decimate Polish culture in just one generation. So, Prussia created a new 8-year education system, where for 8 years kids would go to school and learn things like reading and writing, but they would also learn how to listen to orders. They would learn how to do as they're told, to respect the authority of their Prussian leaders. And this new Prussian education system worked. One Prussian philosopher brilliantly described their education model by writing, "Education should be aimed at destroying free will, so that after pupils are thus schooled, they will be incapable throughout the rest of their lives of thinking or acting otherwise than as their schoolmasters would have wished." When the technique has been perfected, every government that has been in charge of education for more than one generation will be able to control its subjects securely, without the need of armies or policemen. It was as poetic as it was true. Basically, if you want a submissive population that you can rule over, you have to destroy their free will. You have to condition them not to think. Thinking is the enemy, and you have to start this conditioning when they're as young as possible. So, every Polish and Prussian child was required to attend school for 8 years.
So, heard what he said. You gotta start young. So, Why is rap music aimed at the youth? Hmm? When is the most impressionable age of a young man or woman or a young boy or girl? While these kids are in these schools, what are they singing? Right? What are their cadences? Right? Who teach them how to dress and what to wear? All of it is the same devil pulling the same tricks. Who gave these kids their morality? Where does these kids' morals come from? Right? This devil is something serious, man. But Yahweh is even more serious, right? Because like we read in Deuteronomy chapter 32, the Most High allowed this to happen. He put this in motion, man. These are just devils that he used, right? Let me see. This the book of, I think it's in the Psalms. Yeah, Psalm 17 and 13. It says, "Arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword, from men which are thy hand, O Yahweh, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure. They are full of children, and leave the rest of their substance to their babes." Right? Now, how will allow this thing to happen? Why? We already read it in the book of Baruch, chapter 4. We were sold to the nations, not for our destruction, but because we moved. When I say we, I'm talking about Yasharallah as a whole. Moved Yahweh to wrath. Right? We were delivered unto the enemies. Right? But a remnant of the Most High's people would wake up. A remnant of the Most High's people would bethink themselves and call upon the name of the Lord. Right? Beg Yahweh for mercy and forgiveness. Right? The Most High would bless us with faith and allow us to work in that faith. Right? But let's continue on.
Years where day in and day out, these kids were force-fed so much Prussian patriotism that by the time they left school, obedience to the Prussian monarchy was the only reality they knew. The Prussian system was so effective that it caught the eye of one person, an influential American politician by the name of Horace Mann. And Horace Mann planned on exporting this Prussian model to the good old US of A. Netflix killed good old US of A.
Now, he say destroy their free will. I say destroy their right mind. Because that's what it's really about. Ain't no such thing as free will according to the word. According to the word of the Most High. Man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? Right? So yes, the Most High created Yasharallah, his people. But he also made the majority of his people to walk in wickedness. The Most High is the author of this thing, man. Stop trying to understand his mind. Right? But at the end of the day, man, this devil got to pay for all that he's doing and all that he's done. And we seeing that payment happen as we speak. The daughter of Babylon losing their power. But like I said, this just speaking on a portion of the origin of how the Most High's people lost the remembrance of themselves, right? Through the transatlantic slave trade and through the pseudo-educational system that the majority of the Most High's people still hold near and dear to their heart as though it's absolute truth. even all the way up into college, man. There is no difference. It's the same thing, right? From kindergarten, from preschool all the way up until grad school. Same thing, man. Right? But let me see. I'm gonna go to the book of Baruch. Not end it with that. Baruch chapter 4 and verse 14. It says, "Let them that dwell about Zion come and remember ye the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting hath brought upon them." Right? "For he hath brought a nation upon them from far, a shameless nation, and of a strange language, who neither reverenced old man, neither nor pitied child." Right? Like Buddy said, they target the youth. Right? That's why the music today, and I'm going with music because it's all, like I said, it's all in the same sphere, right? The same cipher, same world, same circle, right? From the school system to the music to the entertainment, it's all to control one's mind. If you stupid enough, when I say stupid, I'm saying like you literally don't know no better, right? But if the Most High gives you light to be able to see it, you should be able to step back and peep game, right? Peep the destruction of your people and the source of it and the game of it all, right? But just like in the music, man, how today music, as far as children go, when I say children, I ain't talking about toddlers. I'm talking about teenagers, right? And young adults, early 20s. The music that they listen to is just absolute destructive, right? And if you listen to the music and watch the lifestyle, they go hand in hand. The music speaks about killing one another for absolutely no reason, right? Basically every rhyme is naming a specific weapon, and the youth listen to that, and they carry those weapons, and they wear those weapons like a fashion statement, not understanding you literally been duped into giving your life away, because at any moment somebody can pull your card to see how real are you, right? I hear the music that you listening to. I see the costume that you got on. The costume fit the music that you listen to. I hear you speak. The way you speak sounds just like the individuals that's rapping the songs. But how real are you? You don't even know these folk that's rapping these songs. You ain't never met them. You ain't never kicked it with them. You didn't grow up together. You don't know them from jack squat. The only way you know them is through videos. You don't know if they were squares before they got signed. You don't know if when they got a record deal, the record company said, well, we want you to wear this and we're going to give you a spending budget of this, that, and the third. I only want you to go to these stores, right? Because I want you to promote these clothes. So I want you to go to Fendi. I want you to go to Gucci. I want you to go to Versace. And I want you to go to such and such and such and such, because those are the new clothes that we're going to promote. And I want you to wear them a certain type of way, right? Can you do that? And the boy may be like, I don't know. And they break out this big ass check on you. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Right? Not understanding you real life signing up to destroy your folk. And you got little JoJo from around the way that's trying to imitate that because it seemed cool to him, because it's seen on TV and it's blasted on the radio all day and day, over and over and over and over and over and over again. Right? And instead of them building, I don't know, community centers, giving out free health care or things that the people need, what does Esau build? Prisons. Right? What they get funds for? Prisons. Right? And the majority of the Most High people just cannot see game. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Right? But this is the book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 18. For he that brought these plagues upon you will deliver you from the hands of your enemies. Now, that's speaking to the elect. 2/3 of the Most High's people, they have to die, man. Right? These the same individuals that were following the idols in their past lives. Same individuals that gave their minds over to their enemies in their past lives. So the Most High said, you know what? You keep doing it. That's what's up. This go around, I ain't saving you. I'm going to let you give your mind over to your enemy. Right? I'm going to have them create this fake ass educational system. I'm going to have them create a music business. I'm going to have them create entertainment business. And I'm gonna let them loose on you. Right? And I'm gonna make sure that you don't hear my word when I bring my prophets out to warn you of everything that I'm going to do to you, and it's gonna be bad. Right? Jacob's trouble is gonna be extremely bad. Scripture says it'll be a time such as never was since there was a nation. Right? And throughout history, it had been some real times. Right? So, hey man. Matter of fact, let me go to I thought I was gonna end it there. Let me go to Romans 13 and 11. One of my favorites. It says, and that knowing the time, right? And that knowing the time, having knowledge of the times that you're in, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than we believed. The daughter of Babylon fallen, man. Right? And I said, man, like scripture says, the majority of the Most High's people will be destroyed. All right, so with that, Yahweh Shim Yahushua these precepts in this video were edifying. Kol Holoyim La, Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Harakha Kodash, Shalom Yashalom.